I feel like you wear that tag, the writer of controversial articles, hey, Simmons and the grenadines.
Ari, as a trained communicator, you know that controversy is a news element.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I write controversial stories. I just try to make my stories interesting. If I'm going to sit for 45 minutes and write a story, I want people to read it. So it must be an interesting story.
I had this conversation, me, the cameraman, and someone, was it management or marketing they're in? And they had mentioned, oh, the way eyewitness use write story, it's sensationalized. And I'm like, I think that people often forget that these media houses are businesses.
Yep.
And the minute that your story is misleading or untrue is when you're failing as a journalist.
Exactly. You lose credibility.
Exactly. So as long as it remains truthful, where are you going wrong?
I don't know. I mean, who wants to sit and write a boring story? Nobody wants to read a boring story. I used to think, right, at one point, that writing headlines was my greatest weakness as a journalist. Writing headlines, it was one of my greatest weakness. Some people tell me I've improved with time, while other people complain about my headlines. But in internet journalism, your headline is the story. If you don't have that headline that captures people's attention, like when Jacket Skimel Dunbar was convicted of murder, I think I wrote something about hitman for hire for like $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody knew that Skimel Dunbar was convicted of murder. They didn't have to wait on eyewitness news to tell that, but how many people knew that he had actually agreed to kill someone for $1,500?
I remember that article was quite detailed, more detailed than the others that I read.
Yeah, well, there's some court stories that call for that. Yeah.
That's very, 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 very true. And I think most recently, the quote unquote, and I have to say quote unquote, I'm sorry, I'm in communications. So there's certain things that I see. And I remember I posted on Facebook and I said, there's just some things that I not get to. Some arguments that I'm never going to have. You posted Shafika Maloney from homeless to Olympic finalist. Almost said champion, and I had to remember, but she did an amazing job.
She did a wonderful job.
Amazing job.
Yep.
And persons were like, the timing of this is disgusting. Why would you say that? And Shafika herself reposted an article, and I don't remember if it was BBC or ESPN.
Was several media.
It was several media houses for sure, because I remember reading them. That's why I can't remember who she reposted. The same thing. And that is what it took for people to be.
But Ari, as a journalist yourself, right? I mean, everybody likes rags to riches story. Mm-hmm. Like I did a training, and this is one of the things I do. I'm almost always in some training.
that I know.
And there was a Haitian videographer. The training was on video news, and he says the best video news story you can get. Someone is trying to do something, but it is hard. Mm-hmm. Or someone has done something, but it was hard. Mm-hmm. If Shafika was the quote unquote regular US athlete who had all of the money that she needed, all of the support that she needed, and she just, she's just naturally talented and she had all of the supplements, her story would not be as inspiring. So to take away the part that she was homeless is to take away from her story.
I look at this, right, as somebody in communications. And I look at it from journalist aspect and marketing aspect, the advertising aspect, the public relations aspect. And what all of them, and what all of them have in common is this needs to sell. Mm-hmm. The story, if it is that she never went on to Sportsmax, people would not be talking. How many athletes complain, we're not getting funded, this is not happening for us. The Ministry of Sports need to do better. Sports and culture need to do better. The minister people, athletes have been complaining for years. Shafika went on to a regionally and internationally recognized media platform and explained just how serious it got for her. And that is when people started paying attention. That is when you started hearing from the government. That is when you started hearing from businesses.
But the irony is, some people would say that in doing so, she's making the country look bad. But I think when people do that, their focus is in the wrong place.
Yes.
How about saying that she's calling attention to her plight?
Exactly.
And if she did not call attention to her plight, who knows? She might have never ended up. And I mean, kudos to all the people, the entities, the individuals who stepped up and assisted her after that became public. But that's why I always say to people, like people would call me and say, "Oh, well," some people call me, right? The first thing, the number is withheld. The number is withheld. But the first thing they say, I don't want my name called. So I say, well, even if I want to call your name, I can't call your name because I have no idea who you are. But they're talking about something that affects them personally. But they don't want their name to be called. But Kenton Chance is supposed to put out this story about this unnamed person who's having this problem with some other named person, and they want it to be it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. If something is affecting you enough, stand up and speak up.
It reminds me of an interview I had with the opposition leader. And I asked him, who are the young people that are in the New Democratic Party, the NDP?